So no deal on implementing this agreement still. Tell us more.
No deal. Yesterday night, EU lawmakers and EU member states didn't find an agreement to cut EU tariffs on US goods to 0%, as agreed in the Thunberg Agreement. Let me remind you what this Thunberg Agreement is about. Last year, after weeks of trade disputes, the EU and the US agreed that they would impose US tariff at 15% on EU goods, and that the EU would cut its tariff at 0%. So yesterday night, the Parliament's lead negotiator, the German MEP Bernd Lange, wanted to attach conditions to the deal. The core objective was to shield the deal from future US threats, like the one made last week over EU cars, or like the one made a couple of months ago over Greenland. And the Parliament also wanted to make the deal temporary, which means expiring in March 2028, a couple of months before the end of Trump's mandate.
Okay, and Peggy, I think we can also take a listen to what Maroš Šefčovič, the trade chief, who of course has been urging this deal to get over the line, had to say in Paris last night.
We have to deliver on what was promised in Scotland, meaning lowering the tariffs for the US exports to European Union, as we agreed in our joint statement. And of course, for me, it's also very important that United States would live up to the expectations and also would live up to what was agreed to the Infirmary. And I'm talking here about return to 15% all-inclusive tariff, which was agreed upon.
And Peggy, we know that EU capitals governments are part of these talks. What are they saying?
Well, EU governments consider that the Parliament's demands go too far. But the diplomats I talked to yesterday night told me that there could be room for compromise. But it's too early. Yesterday night was about presenting each side's political line, and technical negotiations will come at a future stage for next round of negotiations. EU capitals here are trying to balance two objectives. One, which is to avoid any move that would reinforce Trump's narrative, which is to say that the EU does not honor the deal, the Thunberg Agreement, and at the same time protect the agreement from future US threats. So here there's room for compromise with the Parliament, which pursues the same goal.
Okay, Peggy, thank you so much for that comprehensive update. We'll be keeping an eye on developments in the coming weeks.